Morning folks, I'm Dave Canterbury with the Pathfinder School, and what I thought we'd do this morning is have a little discussion about one of my theories when it comes to black powder firearms. I recently returned from the SHOT Show in Las Vegas, and that's the reason I haven't shot any videos for about the last 5 or 6 days. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about black powder again because we are preparing to add some black powder firearms to our website at Self-Reliance Outfitters. We're going to have both kits and we're going to have finished guns, and we'll have them in a few different calibers. We will have some Fowlers and we will have some rifles. Now the Fowlers are more expensive because they have to be custom built. It's very hard to find a smoothbore or a shotgun or a Fowler in black powder, either in cap lock or flintlock, without paying a custom price, because they really don't make a production manufactured Fowler anymore unless you go to somewhere like Petrozzoli, which is one of the types of firearms that we're going to carry. But again, you're talking almost $1,000 for a Fowler. They're very expensive firearms. Now I'm working on getting some kits, some custom U-build kits into the shop in the $700 range, but that's about as cheap as we're going to be able to get a Type D Fusel or any type of Fowler. And it will be just like the one that I carry, except it will be a kit and not instead of a finished gun. But one thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, going to the common man side of things, or going to the less expensive and still pretty bulletproof side of things, is just these side lock type cheaper model black powder guns. This one happens to be a 50 caliber Cabela's, made in Italy. So it's not going to be any different than most of the things that you're going to find from CVA, Traditions, all of those lower end side lock type firearms. And cap lock's always going to be less expensive than flintlock. So I've had lots of guys ask me about smaller caliber rifles, like 32, 36 caliber. And number one, they're very difficult to find, and number two, usually they're very expensive. Traditions does have a smaller caliber rifle, but they're out of stock right now, and they don't know when they're going to get them back in. I think it's a 36 caliber. So they're fairly hard to find. The second thing that I find is, in my mind, for the Eastern Woodlands, they're almost a waste of time because they're a dedicated firearm for small game like squirrel, rabbit, and things like that. Okay, so here's my black powder solution, or my 21st century long hunter solution, if you will, to being able to make this 50 caliber firearm more versatile. I can buy a smaller caliber rifle to hunt small game like a 32 or a 36, something like that, but it's not going to be legal for hunting deer in the state of Ohio, so it's a very limiting firearm. I'm almost investing the money in that small caliber rifle only for small game. I can shoot shot from a 50 caliber rifled barrel. I'm going to suffer accuracy over distance, but at short ranges of 15 to 20 yards, which is no problem for squirrel and rabbit, I'm not going to suffer enough to make me miss my target, and I still have the ability to shoot that 50 caliber round ball or buffalo bullet from this gun. So I have the big game opportunity and the small game opportunity wrapped into one gun. I'm going to show you today what the pattern looks like on small game with number 6 shot fired from a 50 caliber rifle. Stay with me. Okay, so here's some of my terrible artwork. This is my small gray squirrel. We're going to hang this in a tree at about 15 yards away. I'm going to show you how to load shot for use in a 50 caliber rifled cap lock black powder firearm. We'll take a shot and see how we do. Stay with me. Now there's a couple of different ways that I can shoot shot from this firearm. I can load it as a traditional Fowler and just put powder in there, a wad, shot, and an overwad, and shoot it. Or I can create a cartridge from paper surrounding the shot and load it that way. The paper shot cartridge is going to have less variation or less spread of the pattern than just loading it straight down the barrel and letting it travel through the rifling. Both ways will work. The first one I'm going to show you is the way that I normally load, which is just to put my powder in, put a wad in, put shot on top of that, wad on top of that, and fire the gun. Very quick and field expedient. So I would just take my powder flask, load my measure with the proper measure of powder, grab a piece of sheep's wool. And I like to use sheep's wool because the lanolin lubricates the barrel, and it's also not very flammable when it comes out the other end. And I would jam that down inside, just like that. Then I would use the same volume measure for my shot and put an equal volume of number 6 shot as I used powder. There is no cap in the gun at this point. There's no chance of this gun going off. And then the last step is just to put an overwad of, again, sheep's wool down the barrel. And now I've basically created a shotgun shell within this gun. And once I'm done with that, then I would reach into my bag and grab a cap and prepare the gun by putting it on half cock, full cock. I always hold the hammer when I'm doing this and keep my fingers off the trigger. Load the cap, and then I ride the trigger forward to the half cock position, just like that. And now I'm ready to hunt. Okay, so there's Mr. Squirrel target hanging from the tree. And we're about 15 yards away. See what we got. Okay, so here's what we got. No doubt that's a dead squirrel. Alright, so let's take a look at old bugs here. You'll probably have to walk up on him. Can't hardly see it in the camera, I don't think. Let's take a look. Here's what we got on our rabbit at 20 yards. He's got plenty of holes in him, that's for sure. There's at least 2 in the head, 1, 2, 3 in the upper area of the spine, and 1, 2, 3, 4 in the gut, and 1 in the hind end. He's not going anywhere. That's 20 yards with 6 shot out of a 50 caliber rifle. Okay guys, so here's what I found out over time. You're going to have to play with your firearm and your loads. I generally use the same powder measure and shot volume measure, if that's the way you want to look at it, for all of my black powder firearms, but I only use 50 to 69 caliber. Generally speaking, you want to start with about the same amount of powder as the caliber of your gun as a starting load. So 50 grains of powder for a 50 caliber, 60 grains of powder for a 60 caliber, and so on. And then if you're using shot, you want to use an equal volume. Wherever that volume of powder comes up on your measure, you would use an equal volume of shot. And it's going to pattern different from a rifle than it's going to from a smoothbore. So you're going to have to play with your loads a little bit, play with your shot volume, play with your powder volume and things like that to get it down to where you want it. Here's the thing. This rifle is capable of shooting shot, and it's capable of being effective out to 20 yards very easily for taking small game. I don't need a small caliber rifle to hunt squirrel and rabbit and things like that if I can use shot in a 50 caliber rifle, which is much more common, much less expensive, especially if I'm just trying to get into black powder and I want to see how I like it. I can get a 50 caliber rifle fairly cheap, and I can play with shot and 50 caliber round ball, 50 caliber buffalo bullets, and all of those things to get the feel for how I like black powder. And it doesn't take a whole lot of accessories to shoot these firearms, and they're not that difficult to clean. I appreciate you guys joining me out here today for this theory on shooting shot from a 50 caliber rifle. I thank you for your views and your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business. I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.